Gonna have thunderstorms all day, but I'm happy to say we're seeing sunshine right now. If you remember last week, something funky happened with my green screen and my webcam when the sun went behind a cloud. We'll see if it happens again this week or not. How is everybody? I'm seeing lots of people in the chat. Tell me where you're from. Colombia we have. Juan Diaz from Colombia. Hello, Juan. We've got someone in Sweden. Welcome. So glad to have you here. Ernesto from Russia. Welcome to you. Thank you guys so much for all being here. It's great to see you. Hi, Gabrielle. We have Brazil. We have Anderson from Brazil. And Wagner from Brazil. Brazil is a country that is a big supporter of Rachel's English. We have Argentina, Iraq, Colombia, Taiwan. Whoa! Now they're going so fast I can hardly read them. Ukraine, Italy, Peru, Algeria, Spain, India, Japan, Costa Rica, Haiti. Wonderful. So great to see you guys all here. I saw some Mexico there. You know, I visited Mexico earlier this year. I was in Baja, California with my family in January and February, and now that the coronavirus has hit, the idea of traveling like that feels so far removed from where we are now, although I would love to be there. We have Syria, Germany, Kyrgyzstan, Egypt, Guatemala, Bangladesh, Brussels, Belgium, Somaliland, Uzbekistan, Ethiopia. This is awesome, guys, isn't it? The Dominican Republic, Bulgaria. To have everyone here together, learning together, I love it. Okay, so the format of this live lesson is going to be the same as it has been for the past few weeks. We're going to watch a video together. This one is from a road trip I took with my family, and we go over lots of idioms that come up as we talk about various things. Of course, in American English, we use idioms so frequently, and it can be pretty tough to follow. You might understand the vocabulary words, but you don't understand what the idiom together, those words together, means. So we're going to go over some of those this week. I want you to throw your questions into chat. Yemen, Ukraine, Istanbul, Tunisia. I want you to throw your questions in the chat. I'm going to do my best to keep an eye on them as they come in. So now, without further ado, let's go ahead and start that video. Oh, I have one thing I have to do first. Hello. Okay, I did it. Great. All right, let's start the video. Oh, I have to shrink myself. I don't want to be in front of the video. So much to consider when you're running a live stream. Thank you guys for being here and for being patient with me as I figure out what I'm doing.
Are we there yet? Today we'll study phrases and idioms, and we'll do a little listening comprehension quiz as we study conversation that came up on a road trip I took with my 2 kids, my husband, and our friend Steve.
All right, let me buckle up.
Did everybody buckle up?
Yep.
Steve?
We're buckled
All right.
in. I did buckle up.
Buckle up. That's a phrasal verb that means to put on your seatbelt. I noticed with my kids' car seats, sometimes I use the phrase buckle in. Hold still so I can buckle you in. Then I'll buckle up. Did everybody buckle up?
Yep.
Steve?
We're buckled
All right.
in. I did buckle up.
Buckle up.
Okay, now everybody out there, do you wear a seatbelt? What is the standard in your country? In the US, it's the law to wear a seatbelt. So we do our best to do it. And of course, with the kids, we do it all the time. And actually, we also do it all the time. It's a very strong habit. I feel like now, when I see people not wearing a seatbelt, I think, oh my gosh, it just seems so dangerous. Whereas, you know, 40 years ago, 50 years ago, a lot of cars didn't even have seatbelts. So that's a little bit crazy. Someone's asking, what's the best dictionary? So I do want to talk about that. I use a variety of dictionaries. I don't think you should limit yourself to just one. I often use dictionary.com and the Cambridge Dictionary of American English. Every once in a while, I'll reference Merriam-Webster or Macmillan or something like that. So I think it's a good idea to have a couple favorites, and everything you do, you check 2 different places at least. You'll sometimes see a difference in opinion about pronunciation. They'll use different symbols for the IPA. Sometimes they use their own. And then you just get a slightly different definition. You might get different example sentences, and that's just going to help widen your understanding of how to use that word, of what that word means. So that's what I would say to that. I do think use an online dictionary whenever possible, because usually you can click a button and hear the word, and I think that is a brilliant way to study it in general. Some of them sound a little bit robotic, but some of them sound quite natural, and that's a good way to practice. So no one answered my question if they wear a seatbelt. Oh, yes. Okay. Someone says, fasten your seatbelt. Fasten, buckle up, buckle in. Let's all be safe. Okay, guys, let us keep going and learn some idioms together.
Buckle down. The meaning of the phrase buckle down is completely unrelated. It means to really focus on something, to work hard on it. I need to buckle down and study for this exam. I don't feel like doing my homework. Just buckle down and get it done. Now, about 4 minutes into the car ride, Stoney started asking if he could watch a video. He knows he gets to watch one with his headphones when Sawyer needs to take his nap to help keep the car quiet. The next 20 seconds of video won't have subtitles, so see if you can understand what we're saying. There's going to be a 1-question quiz at the end of the 20 seconds. How long?
Okay, so everyone out there, a quiz is coming. I want you to really focus on it and see if you can answer the question. Also, someone asked me to speak louder. Is it quiet? Is it too quiet? Is anyone out there having a hard time hearing me? I guess I can hunch down a little bit more, a little bit closer to the microphone. I didn't check my settings ahead of time, but I can see here on the screen, it looks like it's pretty much matching the quality of the audio levels of the video. So I hope that you guys can hear me. All right, so we're going to go listen to the quiz. Everyone get your listening ears perked up.
Is the car ride.
Two are here.
You can watch after lunch.
No,
What?
I watch in the car.
Yes, after lunch we're still going to be in the car. It's a long car ride. Because it's a really long trip, Stoney. How many miles? Do you know, David?
271, that's all.
So 271 miles. That's why we're going to still be driving after lunch.
Okay, do you know the answer? How long is the car ride? David said it once more clearly, and then I repeated it less clearly. I said it faster.
271, that's all.
So 271 miles. That's why we're going to still be driving after lunch.
271 miles.
Oh, I hope this slowdown doesn't last too long.
One thing you hope you never have on a road trip with 2 small children.
Okay, 271. Did you guys catch that the first time through? I'm also curious to know. Oh, Cindy got it. Monica got it. Mustafa got it. Jean, Lorena. Oh, a lot of you guys got it. Someone said 207. 271. That's right. Wow, you guys all have great ears. Look at that. The chat is blowing up with all of your right answers. Oh, someone converted it to kilometers. That's awesome. We don't generally tend to think in terms of kilometers, although we do have road races that are in kilometers. So it's funny, you know, everything we do is in miles, but when we talk about a race, we might say a 5K or a 10K, K standing for kilometers. So we do that. We do road races in kilometers, but we do everything else in miles. Oh, my green screen is messing up a little bit. Shoot. All right. Yeah, you guys got it. So do you guys do road trips where you live? Is this a thing? I remember I was talking to somebody from Switzerland, and I said that, you know, I used to live in Boston and I took voice lessons in New York. And they said, oh, that seems like a long ride. And I said, it's only 4 hours. And I remember she said, if I drove 4 hours, I'd be like 3 countries over or something. So What is it like where you are? Is this something you do? Do you do long road trips, or would that just take you to who knows where? Okay, I'm trying to fix the screen, and I'm not really fixing it. So I apologize that there's a little bit of green going on in the corner. Sun went behind a cloud again. But yeah, let me know in the chat. I love road trips. Monica says, we do so many road trips in Finland. Ooh, I would love to do a road trip in Finland. Have you guys ever been on a road trip in the US? We have, obviously it's a huge country and there's so many different regions to see, different, way the trees grow in the earth. I remember when I was in California, I was just looking out the window like, wow, the trees were so different. And I was talking to a friend who grew up there and I said, what's that tree? I said, that is such a cool tree. And she looked at it and she was like, really? It was just a normal everyday tree to her. She'd seen it every day of her life. She didn't think it was interesting at all. But for me, I had never been around a tree like that. I thought it was so neat and so special. I love that about travel. You see things that you never saw before. And then, of course, when you have people with you that are traveling to where you live, then you get to sort of look at your place in a new light, see it in a new way because of someone else's comments like, wow, that tree is amazing. But yeah, I like a road trip. Someone likes my silver hair, It's getting more and more silver as the quarantine goes on and on. Who knows when it will end? Okay, let's keep going with the video. We're about to learn some idioms here. Tell me in the chat if you've heard these idioms before.
Is a delay.
I hope we don't hit many delays.
The GPS says that it's clear sailing. Knock on wood. It'll stay that way.
Okay. Clear sailing, knock on wood, guys.
David used two phrases there, clear sailing and knock on wood. Clear sailing. We use this not just with sailing, but also driving to mean nothing in the way.
Okay, did you guys know these? Have you heard these before? Clear sailing and knock on wood. Let me know in the chat. Also, someone says, when I'm saying the word road trip, that it sounds like I'm saying trip with a CH. And that person said, is this a normal way to pronounce that T? How many of you know the answer? Put it in chat. If you've been studying with me for a while, you've probably heard me say, it's not normal for just T, but for TR, for that cluster, it is very common to make that a CHR. It's probably more common than making it a TR sound. Trip, trip, t-t-t-t. That is less common than trip, trip, ch-ch-ch-ch. So the TR cluster does become a CHR. Make sure you don't drop the R. The CH doesn't replace it. But try all these words with me now. Try. Trip. Are you doing it with a CH? Train. Can you do all those with me? What are some other ones? TR. Put any TR word that you can think of in the chat. Trial. Trek. So good ear to the person who noticed that the T in trip sounded like a CH. Okay, so the idioms, smooth sailing and knock on wood. Smooth sailing, I'm about to explain that here in the video.
No obstacles, nothing to delay us on a trip. But we also use it in general to mean no problems or obstacles with the situation. It doesn't just have to be transportation. It could be something like completing a project. For example, now that we got the new budget approved, it should be clear sailing to finish the project. That is, we foresee no problems, no issues, and no obstacles arising. The other phrase he used was knock on wood. Both of these phrases are really common. Have you heard them before? Knock on wood is a superstitious expression. If you comment out loud on something that's going well, you might say, knock on wood, as a way to say, and I hope things keep going well. I hope my having mentioned it doesn't mean it ends. For example, hey Rachel, how's the baby sleeping? He sleeps through the night, knock on wood. I've run out of gas more than once on a road trip. Actually, years ago, I made a video on another road trip where I did run out of gas. I'll link to that video at the end of this video. There's a lot to learn about American English in that lesson. David and
Okay. Am I the only one who's ever run out of gas on the road, on the highway, or it doesn't have to be on the highway, just in the city. If you've ever been driving and you ran out of gas while you were driving, please let me know in the chat. Say, yes, I ran out of gas, so that I know I'm not the only one out there that did it. Also, I saw some other great TR cluster words coming in. I saw treasure. I saw truck. I saw another one that I can't remember right now. Whoa, my light. But yes, I want to know if anyone else has run out of gas, because I did. It was very embarrassing. I was traveling with 4 other people, and then we had to call other friends who were on the same road trip to come bail us out, to come bring us gas. So it was a little embarrassing to do that. But, you know, it happens. I don't claim to be the best driver. I am far from the best driver. You know, I hardly ever drive anymore. Living in New York for 8 years will really change how well you drive, because you just lose that skill a little bit. I lived in Boston for like 5 years, then New York for 8. So all in all, it was over a decade that I didn't own a car, and I was hardly driving at all. Then I moved to Philadelphia, and David had to drive me everywhere. So I did get better at driving again, because I had to be independent, but we both prefer when he's driving. Let's just put it that way. So Mutalib ran out of gas. Thank you. Martha never ran out of gas. Okay, she's really good at keeping an eye on the gas gauge. Okay, a couple other people have run out of gas. That's awesome. Thank you, guys. You're making me feel like it's just a little bit more normal. Someone said I had a close call once, but it didn't actually happen, luckily. JC did run out of gas. Okay, it happens. We're all human, right? That kind of thing happens. I'm not the only one. All right, let's keep going. Knock on wood is the idiom that we just talked about. And it's something you do superstitious that you say, or you actually do. You actually knock on wood when you've just said something that's positive, that's good, and you don't want it to end. For example, the example I used, the baby is sleeping through the night, knock on wood. You don't want to mess that one up. All right, let's get back to the video.
I have also run out of gas on a road trip before. Run out is a phrasal verb with more than one meaning. It can mean to do an errand that won't take very long. Can you run out and get some milk? Or, I'm going to run out and pick up the kids from school. But it also means to deplete something, to have nothing left. I ran out of time. I couldn't finish the test. We ran out of gas on the highway. So now I pay more attention to how much gas we have.
How are we doing on gas?
Just over 3/4.
Okay.
How we doing on? I dropped the word are there. This is somewhat common in casual English after how. How you doing? How we doing on gas? How we doing on time?
How are we doing on gas?
Have you ever taken a road trip with 2 small kids?
So Stoney's asking when we're getting out of the car. How long have we been in the car?
Been in the car for about 12 minutes.
10?
10 minutes. We have about 5 hours.
5 hours?
Yep. So we have 300 minutes to go.
It can get long, but really the boys did great. Some of you have asked about English books, videos, songs, and so on to expose your kids to English. One thing that Stoney loves to do is listen to audiobooks. So now is a great time to talk about Audible, who has so kindly sponsored this video.
I've really gotten it. Okay, let's take a break there. Again, sorry for my green screen over here. Poking up some green. So I should have edited this out, but there is an Audible shout out here. And actually, I want to let you guys know that this code is still good for Audible. So if you haven't already taken advantage of it, I'm actually listening right now to an audiobook. I'm listening to Michelle Obama's book, Becoming, and she does it herself. It's her own voice. She wrote it, and then she recorded the audio version of it. And it's awesome, and she speaks really clearly, and that could be a good book for you no matter what your skill level is. I think that you could find that you understand most of it. But let's just go ahead here and listen to the plug for Audible. And as I said, if you haven't already used the coupon, use it. audible.com/Rachel's English, you get a free audiobook. And it's a great way to find a native speaker, just more to work with. And if it's a novel or a topic that interests you, maybe it's a topic that focuses on what you study in college or what your work is. You're going to be picking up some of the phrases and vocabulary in English that people use to talk about it. I think it's a really useful source. So we'll go ahead and play through that part of the video now. And if you have used Audible, if you have a favorite audiobook, put it in the chat. Pass on the recommendation. To audiobooks lately, and they do have a selection for kids. You can choose by age. So Stoney's just 3, and there are so many fun audiobooks.
Stoney, what are we listening to?
Lily Bergner.
Do you like it?
Yeah.
The one we listened to in the car was Lori Berkner's Song and Story Kitchen. If you have young kids and they love music, this would be a great audiobook to listen to with them. Audible is giving to you your first audiobook free plus 2 free Audible originals when you try Audible for 30 days. Visit audible.com/Rachel's English or text Rachel's English to 500-500 in the US. The Audible originals are exclusive audio titles that you can find only on Audible. Created by celebrated storytellers, they're really fun. I've enjoyed listening to them. And when you're an Audible member, you get 2 free every month.
So again, to try Audible for 30 days and get a free audiobook plus 2 Audible originals.
Okay, so if you have not yet done it, go to audible.com/Rachel's English. Do get that free audiobook. You can choose anything. And you know what? If you don't like what you get, they'll let you exchange it for free. So you might as well try it. It's another great resource of English, and it can be really fun. Pick anything that interests you, search that term, and I can almost guarantee you they have a book on that topic. All right, let's keep going. By the way, did everyone see Stoney, how excited he was about that book he was listening to? Lori Berkner! He loves Lori Berkner. She's a songwriter and a singer that does kids music. And actually, he met her at a library in Florida. And it was one of the happiest moments of his life ever. She signed a book for him, and he got to watch her perform. And he got to sit on her lap afterwards and meet her. It was very, very exciting for him.
Visit audible.com/Rachel's English or text Rachel's English to 500-500 in the US. After, are we there yet? Maybe the most common thing a kid says on a road trip is, I'm hungry.
We're gonna eat lunch in here.
No, we'll probably eat lunch somewhere outside of the car.
Where are we gonna eat? Because I'm very hungry.
You're very hungry? Well, we're probably not going to eat for about an hour. And then it'll be a quick bite so we can get back on the road.
Quick bite. Have you ever heard the word bite to mean meal or snack? A bite is singular. It's a noun. This is so good. Do you want a bite? It's also sometimes a verb. I have to tell my 1-year-old, don't bite me.
Whoa, sorry.
But we also use it to mean food
I made
in
myself big. So it's so sweet to see Stoney. This wasn't even that long ago. It was a year ago, but he's like so much bigger now. And of course his hair is super long and floppy right now because none of us know how to cut hair. And so he has not been to get a haircut since the pandemic broke out. But kids are always wanting to eat and always wondering how much longer. We were in the car for all of 10 minutes before he's asking when we're going to eat and are we there yet? I'm sure all of the other parents out there can understand. It's just the way that it is. They get in, they get buckled in. It's exciting to start a trip, and then you start it and you start to wonder what's coming up next. It gets boring really quickly, doesn't it? All right, let's keep going with the video.
I said it'll be a quick bite so we can get back on the road. A quick bite, a meal that you hope doesn't take long. I'm going to grab a quick bite and then stop by. You might also hear it in the phrase, a bite to eat. It's almost lunchtime. Do you want to get a bite to eat? I don't mean one bite of food, of course. I mean a meal.
David, remember when we were in Italy and you couldn't figure figure out the gas pump.
What was the deal with that?
It's just different from what we're used to, and you finally some other guy pulled up to fill up and he helped
Yeah,
you.
he had pity on me, but I don't remember what was so different.
I don't either, but we should take the camera out when we fill up
Okay.
and explain how it works, because that's intimidating. I feel like when you're in another country, you're not totally sure how something like that works.
Yeah.
Okay.
Someone in the chat said in Russia they have the phrase spit over your left shoulder, equal to knock on wood, being something that you do if you're superstitious about something ending. Someone says, what does it mean keep going? Well, keep going just means don't stop. Like if you are working on a project, you're doing a good job, someone might say, oh, that's great, keep going. Keep going with that idea, for example. Someone says that knock on wood is similar to an Arabic expression. And someone said in Russia, they also use knock on wood. What I also saw maybe Portuguese that you guys use that phrase knock on wood there. Someone says, why do you use gas instead of petrol or diesel? I also saw someone asking about the word fuel. So definitely in America, we use the word gas for what you put in your car. Petrol, I think, is more British, but I'm not sure, but we don't use that ever. And we don't really use fuel either. I mean, it makes sense. We know what it means, but it's just not what we use. We just use the word gas. Now, diesel is different. We do have diesel as well. When you are at a gas station, there will be some pumps that pump regular gas and some pumps that pump diesel, depending on which kind of engine you have. So I don't know why gas is the preferred word that we use in American English, but it is what we use for what you put in the car to make it go. Thank you guys for putting your questions in chat. They're always interesting to see, and they help me figure out what to talk about. So keep those questions rolling in. Okay, let's keep going with the video.
So a quick rundown about getting gas in the US. Rundown, one word, this is a noun, it means an analysis, a summary. As two words, it's a phrasal verb with various meanings. But I said, let's do a quick rundown about getting gas in the US. Let's do a quick summary. There are two kinds, self and full. Self means you pump your own gas, and full means someone else pumps your gas for you and you don't have to get out of your car. It's short for full service, and the gas pumps will be marked self or full. Now, almost everywhere in the US is self-serve, except for New Jersey, where it's all full, and also some spots in Oregon and a few towns elsewhere. If you're at a self-serve spot and you use a credit or debit card, you just insert it. You'll usually have to enter your zip code, select the grade, that is the quality or purity of the gas you're using, and sometimes you have to flip up part of the pump. If you're paying cash, you usually have to do that before you start pumping. So you'll find the cashier inside, tell them how much you want and what is your pump number. You can say something like $20 on 4. Now, when you're on a long road trip, there's a chance you're going to have to stop for food. We found a
Okay, before we get to that, have you ever been on a road trip or driving a car in a different country and something that's just as simple as getting gas can be so intimidating and confusing, I feel like. And this is what happened to us in Italy. We were in Italy and David was trying to pump gas and he could not figure out how. There was no one around. So we just kind of sat there and waited, and about 10 minutes later, someone came to pump gas. And, you know, David doesn't speak any Italian, maybe one or two words, but luckily he was able to figure it out with this guy who helped him figure out how to pump the gas. But it seems like something like that would be more universal, more easy to figure out. But we couldn't. We had no idea how to put gas in the car when we were traveling in Italy. So it can happen. But there's a little rundown on getting gas in the US. Someone says, what about the kitchen oven gas? Yes, we do call that gas too. For example, your stovetop can be gas or electric. Or you could say something like, I smell gas. Maybe you're afraid there's a gas leak. So we do use the same word for that. What you use to make a flame on your stove, same word that we use for what you use to fuel your car. Do you know the other term for it? The other way we use the word gas? We also use the word gas for farting. I feel funny even saying that in a live stream, but maybe you know this. Flatulence. When you've eaten something, it gives you a stomach ache. It's working its way out. There's some extra air. You could say, I have gas. So why is the word gas used for that many things? I don't know. Then we also have the 3 states: solid, liquid, gas. So solid, ice, for example, liquid, water, and gas, steam. So we use the word gas to mean lots of different things, don't we? It's sort of fun to get to know all of them. All right, let's go back to the video. I'm still laughing about having mentioned that, taught that. It's okay though, right? It's English. We got to know these words.
Plaza. That's something that caters only to people coming on and off the highway. And the idea is that it's faster than getting off at an exit and driving to a restaurant. But it's pretty easy to get pretty terrible food there.
Oh, your beans and rice are good? How's your burrito?
Honestly, the first bite was really bland.
Oh no, okay.
Bland. That is tasteless, not flavorful, not very good. You can also use this to describe a person. He's got a bland personality. That means he's not very interesting, pretty boring. Luckily, I made Sawyer some really tasty corn puree, so he was happy. Now, if we're not eating food, often we're talking about food.
We tried to go to local.
Okay, so before we get to that part of the lesson where we're going to be learning some more idioms, I saw someone, Esteban from Costa Rica, said he was trying to get gas on a road trip to Yosemite and had a lot of problems at the gas station, but apparently figured it out. I think you ended up making it there. Someone says, could you teach initialisms? Do you know what initialisms are? It's when we call something by the letters. Like, for example, CBS is one of the TV networks here in the US. I don't even know what the C stands for. Something broadcasting service, but I'm not sure what the C is for. So initialism is when you call something by its letters like that. CBS, NBC. And what we do there is we stress the last letter. CBS, NBC. Someone says, I am bland. I don't believe that. Bland is the opposite of tasty. It can also be the opposite of spicy. Someone says CVS, ASAP, SOS. Right. These are all initialisms. And we always stress the last letter. Do you guys know the word bland? Have you used that? What is a food that you think is particularly bland? Or maybe you know a person who is particularly bland. Someone has come up, Karina has come up with another initialism, TGIF. That's right. Thank God it's Friday, or thank goodness it's Friday. Someone says blend versus bland. So blend would be when you mix things together, you blend them. And then bland is this word that I mentioned where there's no taste. Blend, bland, Someone says, do you save your live stream? Yes, it will end up on the YouTube channel. Okay, someone else said the initialism WTF, BFF. These are all really good ones. TBT, Throwback Thursday, yes. So probably what the person was asking about with initialisms was, can I come up with a bunch of them and teach them? Someone says CNN. Karina, you're suggesting FOMO. Now, the thing that's different about that is we're not actually saying FOMO. In that case, we make a word and we say FOMO. This is true also of NASA. So we take the initials, but then rather than saying NASA, we actually make a word out of them, like NASA, like FOMO. Someone says OMG, CEO, BTW. These are all awesome ones. USSR, LGBTQ+. Right, exactly. So we have so many of these initialisms, and some of them we say the letters, CBS, and some of them we say that we make a word out of them, NASA. I'm seeing GOP, LOL. Scuba wasn't an initialism. It no longer is, someone says. I didn't know that. That's interesting. NIH, AKA, also known as. Have you ever seen an initialism and you didn't know what it meant and had to look it up? I actually have done that too. Someone, Bulat, has suggested the one GOAT. Greatest of all time, GOAT. Now that's another one where we don't say the words like CDC, Center for Disease Control. We don't say the letters as words, but we put it together into its own word, goat, goat. Oh, you guys are coming up with a bunch of great ones. DM for direct message, USA, UFO, unidentified flying object. Someone says, when do you use TBT? So there might be more than one meaning for that. I've seen the meaning Throwback Thursday, and it's when people on social media on Thursday post a photo that isn't current. Maybe you post one of yourself when you were a kid or something, and it's just a fun way to bring up old memories. TBT, Throwback Thursday. NYC, my favorite city. All right, let's keep going, guys. Now we're about to get into some more idioms and ways to describe different things.
Last night, and it was so on fire. It was like a
dollar taco day.
I don't know, but it was something.
They were slammed. Yeah.
So we had to bail, and we went to Cedar Point, which was totally empty.
Did you enjoy it?
It was okay. I didn't think it was. We were not blown away, were we, babe?
What's that?
We weren't blown away, were we? I wasn't.
No.
Loco Pez. That's a local restaurant in Philadelphia, Mexican-inspired food, Spanish-inspired name with the old American twist and pronunciation. Did you hear some of the words we used to describe this restaurant?
And it was so on fire.
On fire. No, the restaurant was not burning down. It was very, very busy, very popular. We can use this term to mean really good. Maybe you're at a family wedding and your uncle is dancing all night. He's got great moves. You could say, he's on fire. You could say this in sports too. Basketball. Someone just keeps making shot after shot. You could say, she's on fire.
We tried to go to Loco.
Okay, do you guys know that phrase? Had you heard it before? To be on fire. What else could we say? A soccer player, maybe he does a hat trick, he scores 3 goals. We could say, oh, he's on fire today. Okay, a couple of questions come in. Someone says, what time is it right now in your place? It's 4:30 in the afternoon. Someone else said, Rachel, what's your favorite food? And that's impossible to answer, but I will say some food that I really like is Szechuan. And there's a restaurant here in Philadelphia. It's a chain. They've started opening them other places. So I know that there's one in New York, or there was. It's called Han Dynasty. Love their food. I'm already getting very excited thinking about it. Szechuan. Did you notice I used the word chain? Chain is what we use for a restaurant where there's more than one. So for example, maybe you have a local diner and it's the only one like it. The owner, the name of the place just happens once. But then you'll have a chain like McDonald's where there are hundreds, probably thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands. I don't know, but there are so many McDonald's. But then you might also have something like this one in my neighborhood, Han Dynasty, where it's a very small chain. It's a local chain, right? They have 5 or 6, but they're all here in Philly. Then you could call that a local chain. But that's what the word chain means when we're talking about a restaurant. You can have a national chain, a local chain, or you could say it's not a chain restaurant. It's the only one like it. It's my local restaurant. Someone else said, Rachel, can you tell me what you think about what is happening in Minneapolis regarding George Floyd? Well, I think it's very horrific. It's a huge problem. And I think that the country needs to do a lot of work to prevent this from happening. I think that we need to have a clearer set of rules about what is and is not acceptable for a police to do in any given situation where that police feels threatened. I mean, I don't know what it's like in other people's countries, but in the US, it's not uncommon for someone to be hurt by a police officer. When the police officer was using excessive force or even did it on accident, misinterpreted a situation. So I think it's terrible. And I hope that our country can move towards a different place. And, I am looking for organizations to support that are doing that kind of work. I think it's a tough dialogue. It's a hard dialogue, and it's worth having, and it's important to have it, and we must have it. So that's what I think. Do you guys like talking about current events in English, or do you find that you prefer to talk about just more conversational topics? I know that current events are often news-oriented, sometimes politically oriented, and I'm just curious, what do you like when you're working on English? Is that kind of thing, does that kind of thing feel very interesting to you? Or do you prefer to learn things and talk about things the way you would maybe with a friend, or something more conversational? Hey, how are you? What did you do last night? Or do you really like the news kinds of topics, the current event kinds of topics? Let me know, because, I don't do a lot with current events, and I definitely could do more. Life is happening all the time. And of course, with the internet, we're learning about so many things so quickly. The news cycle has gotten much shorter. There's a lot to keep up on. But thank you guys for the question. Someone says police in Norway don't even carry a weapon. I've heard that. That's interesting. I mean, the culture is so different there. Someone says politics is a heavy subject and might be too off-putting for some people. That's probably true. Someone says, not politics, no matter what, someone will hate you. That is very true. I have generally stayed away from politics on my YouTube channel for that very reason. It's such a touchy subject, and I feel like in America anyway, we've gotten less good about being able to talk to somebody who has a different opinion. We've become, the word that you might hear is very polarized. That means we're at two very opposite ends of the spectrum, and there's not much in between, and we don't want to compromise, and we find it hard to debate each other because it just gets so heated, so impassioned. There's so much anger and frustration. Someone says in New Zealand, cops don't carry weapons either. I didn't know that. Someone else says that news topics, this person likes news topics because it's a way to gain new words and ideas. I think that's totally true. I think that's very fair. But as Monica points out, political topics are controversial. Couldn't agree more. All right, let's get back to the video. Learning some idioms, people.
Last night, and it was so on fire. It was like a
dollar taco day.
I don't know, but it was something.
They were slammed.
David said they were slammed. So that means really busy. Actually, you may have already learned that in a video I did earlier this month on ways to say you're busy. That was one of the terms we learned, slammed.
So we had to bail.
I said we had to bail. That means we had to give up. We had to do something different than what was planned. We were going to eat there, but it was so busy, we had to bail and go somewhere else.
And we went to Cedar Point, which was totally empty.
Did you enjoy it?
It was okay. I didn't think it was. We were not blown away, were we, babe?
What's that?
We weren't blown away, were we? I wasn't.
No.
And the place we went, we were not blown away. Blown away is a good thing. You get blown away by something that exceeds expectation.
Just dropped off our friend. Okay, let's just talk about blown away. Blow away. So blown would be past tense. Blow is present. And I could say right now, you guys blow me away. You showed up here. You're sticking with me through this long live lesson. It's so fun to see you in the chat and to see what you have to say. I'm blown away. You blow me away. Can you think of a way in which you could use that? What's something that blows you away? A movie could blow you away, a book, a concept, a performance, a game. Anything that it exceeds your expectation can blow you away. So a couple questions coming in the chat. Someone says that they heard that Americans like to talk about politics. Is that true? I think it really depends. I would say in general, I don't really know other countries, how much they talk about it that much, but I do think it's a fairly common topic in the US to talk about politics, the direction of the country, what's happening, especially when you have a president who is polarizing. I've already used that word, but some people really love him and some people really hate him. And there are not that many people who have remained sort of neutral or whatever about it, unless there are people who just don't care about politics at all and are not reading the news at all, hearing the news on what's going on. Most people have a strong opinion there. Okay, now I believe the video that we're watching together is almost over. And here you get to see I'm in the driver's seat, so look out. Let's just finish it up.
I'm gonna head home. The final 3 minutes of the drive went well. Everyone's in one piece. No blown out tires. One tipped camera, however. Was that? What's her name? What is her name?
If you can't think of someone's name, you can call her what's her name. Notice I'm dropping the H there. What's her name? Or what's his name? Again, dropping the H. What's his name? What's her name? What's his name?
Was that? What's her name? What is her name? We made it! Good road trip, everybody! Yay!
Yay!
That's it, and thanks so much for using Rachel's English. That's not even my ending anymore. I don't know why I did that. I was being crazy.
All right, there we are at the end of the video. Thank you guys for joining me with that. Thank you for the questions that came up in chat. It's just very interesting for me to read them. You know, when I make a video and I post it out there, you guys often feel very far away from me, but when we go over a lesson here together and I get to see you in the chat and you've shown up and you're here, then I feel like I know you a little bit more. It feels more like a dialogue and not a one-way thing. So thank you. Davi Ferreria asks, do you speak another language? Not really. I mean, I can get by with Spanish. When I was in Mexico, I was using my Spanish. I studied Spanish in college. I lived abroad in graduate school, and actually in college I studied German and I lived abroad. I lived longest there in Germany and Austria, so I probably at one point knew that language better than Spanish. When I went to Italy 2 years ago, I studied some Italian. So I really enjoy it, but I would say I've lost most of the speaking skill that I at one time had from lack of practice, from being in the US and not interacting with native speakers ever. But it's good incentive to travel. We had so much fun when we went to Mexico in January, and we've decided we want to try to go again next winter too. So maybe we'll make that a regular thing where we can choose Spanish as the language we're going to try to get better at and make the effort to be in Spanish speaking countries and work on that skill, because I think it's important and it's interesting. And I think for me as a language teacher, it's important to experience the other side of that. Someone says, what about French? I have studied French, actually. I had a great time traveling in France for a week and using, this audio course and getting by with the little that I learned. But I really love languages, guys. I love the sounds of them. I love the expression. I love the way people use their voice. And I really commend all of you for being here, for learning about English in English. I mean, that's hard. You've got to be pretty advanced to do that. So congratulations to you guys. And I think that's going to be it. I'm going to wrap it up here. I'm going to go have my Han Dynasty tonight. I'm going to eat my Szechuan food that I love so much, and I'm going to enjoy it. I hope that you guys all have a wonderful weekend. Thank you so much for being here with me. I appreciate it. Thank you for giving me your time. And I'll see you at the next live stream, which will probably be next week, but be sure that you check my YouTube channel, my notifications, sign up for my mailing list if you haven't already, because I will post it there. And that way you can be in the know. Make sure